You remember the Monopoly man wearing a monocle. You're sure of it. The little top-hatted guy, round belly, that little glass lens perched on his eye. You've pictured him 100 times. You could describe him to a sketch artist right now. He has never worn a monocle. Not once. Not in a single version of that game, ever. And here's the part that should unsettle you a little. You're not stupid. You're not misremembering because you weren't paying attention. Something far stranger is happening inside your brain. Something that scientists are only beginning to fully understand. And by the end of this, I promise you, you will never think about your own memories the same way again. So, the Mandela Effect. The name comes from Nelson Mandela. Thousands of people, completely unconnected from different countries, different backgrounds, share the same vivid memory of Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. They remember the news coverage, the funeral, his widow's speech. He didn't die in prison. He was released in 1990, became president of South Africa, won the Nobel Peace Prize, and lived until 2013. But these people remember. Not vaguely, not hazily. They remember with the full weight of certainty. And that's the thing that makes this so disorienting. We think of memory like a recording, a video file stored on a hard drive, faithful, stable, retrievable. You press play, the scene unfolds exactly as it happened. Here's the more accurate picture. Every time you recall a memory, you're not playing it back. You're reconstructing it. Your brain pulls together fragments, images, emotions, things you've heard since, things you expected to be true, and it assembles them into something that feels seamless, feels real. And then, here's the kicker, it saves that version, the reconstructed one, the one with all the edits and additions. Over the original, you are constantly rewriting your own history without knowing it. The psychologist Elizabeth Loftus spent decades proving this. In one of her most famous experiments, she showed people footage of a car accident. Then she asked different groups slightly different questions. One group was asked, how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other? Another was asked the same question, but with the word contacted instead of smashed. The group who heard smashed remembered the cars going faster. And a week later, they were more likely to remember seeing broken glass, even though there was no broken glass in the footage. One word. One word changed what people saw with their own eyes. So now imagine a lifetime of words, of conversations, of cultural osmosis, of movies and news and casual mentions and collective assumptions. Every single one of those things is quietly editing your memories in real time, and you have no idea it's happening. Think about the Berenstain Bears. You probably called them the Berenstein Bears, with an EIN, like Einstein. Almost everyone did. It felt right. It rhymed with a pattern we already knew. The thing is, we live in a world of patterns. Our brains are prediction machines, not recording devices. They take shortcuts constantly, filling in gaps, rounding off rough edges, making things fit the templates they already have. A family of bears with a Jewish-sounding surname? The brain rounds that to Stein. Done. Filed. Certain. And this isn't a flaw exactly. It's a feature. This pattern matching is why you can read a sentence with every word misspelled and still understand it perfectly. It's why you can recognize a friend's face even when they've aged 20 years. Your brain is incredibly good at building coherent stories from incomplete data. The problem is that it does this silently, without flagging it, without leaving a note that says, hey, I filled this part in, double check me. You just get the finished product, delivered with full confidence. We've all had this experience, right? You're absolutely certain you told someone something, and they swear you never did. And you're both convinced, and you're both sincere. And one of you is wrong, but neither of you is lying. That argument, that's not about honesty. That's two people presenting two different reconstructions of the same event, and neither brain having any way to know which version got corrupted somewhere along the way. Honestly, that should make us a lot more patient with each other. So what does this mean for the Mandela Effect specifically? The most compelling explanation isn't parallel universes. Tempting as that is, it's something called social contagion of memory. When we share memories with other people, we don't just compare notes. We infect each other. You hear someone describe something with confidence. Your brain quietly incorporates their version into yours, and now you remember it that way too. Multiply that by the internet, by comment sections, by Reddit threads full of people saying, "Wait, I remember that too." Suddenly, thousands of people share the same false memory, and it feels like proof that something metaphysical must be happening. But the real answer is simultaneously more mundane and more profound. Human memory is fundamentally, irreducibly collaborative. We build our past together, and together, we can get it wrong together. Here's where this stops being just a fun trivia rabbit hole and becomes something worth sitting with. If your memories are reconstructions, if they're edited every time you access them, then the story you tell yourself about who you are, where you came from, what happened to you, that story is not a fixed document. It is a living thing. It shifts, it softens, it darkens, it adapts to who you are now, not just who you were then. That's terrifying, yes. But look at it from the other direction. The memories that have been hurting you, the ones you've rehearsed so many times they feel like stone, they're not stone. They're softer than you think. The way you've framed a painful experience, the meaning you've given it, the story you've built around it, none of that is permanent fact. Some of it is reconstruction. Some of it is the version your brain built on a hard day and then kept rebuilding in the same shape. You have more authorship over your own story than memory makes it seem. The Monopoly Man never had a monocle. Darth Vader didn't say, "Luke, I am your father." It's, "No, I am your father." Forrest Gump never said, "Life is like a box of chocolates." The line is, "Life was like a box of chocolates." These aren't trivial corrections. They're little windows into something enormous. The fact that the mind is always working, always building, always shaping the raw material of experience into something it can use. You are not a passive recorder of your life. You are its editor. So the next time you feel absolutely certain about something, a memory, a story you've told yourself, a version of events that has always felt immovable, just leave a little room. Not doubt, not paralysis. Just a small, humble opening that says, maybe there's more to this than I've built so far. That's not weakness. That's the most honest thing you can do with a brain like yours. Subscribe to the channel. Every week, we publish fascinating videos about everything imaginable, from hidden mysteries and shocking discoveries to stories that will completely change the way you see the world. Don't miss the next one.